For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Shannon Durey-Hove. I'm at the Helen Suzman Foundation in Parktown to meet with political analyst Aubrey Machiki, who's discussing the criminalisation of the state. In your column, you raise the spectre that internal battles in the ANC may be linked to criminal activities by powerful people in the state and police services. Please elaborate on this.
Well, that idea is based on a broader idea, the idea of the deep state. And the deep state, as I've said in previous articles, comes into being when there's a confluence of intelligence, political, criminal, and business interests. So senior politicians and government officials, rogue elements in intelligence, both in the private and public sector, rogue elements in business, come together in pursuit of a common business goal. And they do so in cooperation with the criminal underworld. My concern, looking at some of the things that we see happening in the security establishment, is that internal ANC battles may destabilize elements of the state to the extent to which state resources and state intelligence capacity may be used in internal ANC battles, forcing those who operate in the security establishment to take political sides in what is essentially an internal ANC battle.
In your column, you state that you are afraid to name names. Why is this?
Well, it's interesting to me that you have an individual located in our intelligence structures. Certain allegations are made against him, and those people who have become in one way or another involved in investigations around allegations about this individual have their houses burgled under the most suspicious of circumstances, their legal documents stolen, the computer of an advocate is tampered with, and a prosecutor gets shot at. That worries me, because as tenuous as the link may be to some, I think there is enough for us as a country to be worried that there may be a connection, firstly, between this individual and his attempt at self-preservation and internal ANC battles. You can split that into two. Firstly, because there may be some in the ANC who want to survive internal ANC battles, they may rely on individuals in the security establishment for survival. At the same time, if those located in the security establishment themselves need to survive, may rely on the support of politicians who are fighting battles in the ANC.
You mentioned that single-party dominance and a demobilized citizenry may be the greatest danger facing our democracy. Why do you say this?
Well, actually, let me revise that. I think the greatest danger is the silence of ANC members. If ANC members do not speak out against attacks on the judiciary, the misappropriation of intelligence and security resources, if they don't speak out, then we face the real threat that at some point in future, our democracy itself might come under attack. But at the same time, I think when civil society is demobilized and society as a whole is demobilized, that creates opportunities for those who have nefarious intents to flourish. But I am encouraged that increasingly civil society formations are coming to the fore. The media has become quite aggressive. We can quibble about the motives of the different actors, but we cannot undermine the impact of civil society and actors in society as a whole speaking out and acting against what I perceive as possible threats to our democracy.
Are you not being alarmist when you suggest that some in the ANC may wish to scrap South Africa's rights-based constitution? What do you hope to achieve by airing such fears?
Well, I set out in writing this article to scare, firstly, our citizens, the country, and secondly, ANC members, into realizing that you may have something small today, which might grow into a much bigger problem later. If a particular culture of how we engage with politics, particularly in the dominant party, is allowed to flourish. So I am being deliberately alarmist because remember, you cannot rule out the possibility that there will dawn the day one day when the ruling party, the ANC or another party, is ruled by an autocratic faction. And remember, if that happens, you may want to defend the Constitution, but you can't protect the Constitution and the Constitutional Court against an autocratic group if that autocratic group operates in the context of a demobilized society and civil society and wants to go so far, not only as to manipulate our judges or to undermine the Constitution, but to scrap our constitutional order. That's not outside the bounds of possibility. I am not saying that is imminent. I am saying it will become imminent one day if we don't speak out.
So it's not likely to happen anytime soon?
I don't think it's going to happen in the next 12 months, for instance. But we must not forget that in the lead up to Polokwane, our institutions, particularly democratic institutions, came under threat. Even the judiciary got sucked into what was essentially an internal ANC battle. Our intelligence agencies were almost decimated, particularly the NIA, by their involvement in internal ANC battles. Now, a dangerous coincidence we have in this country is, firstly, the fact that our opposition parties are weak. And what that means is that they cannot play the role of agencies of restraint because they are weak. But at the same time, in how some in the dominant party conduct themselves, we have the real threat of threatening institutional certainty. So the coincidence of weak opposition and institutional uncertainty constitute quite a real threat to our democracy.